Good morning, movers. Welcome back to Move Daily Fitness. It's Tracy, and the workout today is going to be a beginner lower body workout. No squats, no lunges. So if those hurt your knees, but you still want to work your legs, this is the workout for you. The format today is going to be timed. We're going to do 40 seconds of work with 15 seconds transition. I'll hit each circuit through twice. All right, so you get a little chance to overload, test yourself in that first round, see how much you can lift, and if you can go a little bit heavier in the second, then do that. You're going to require a variety of dumbbells for the workout. Here's what I suggest a beginner might use, but of course this is a reference, so lift within your own abilities. I'll also use something to sit on, so grab a stable bench or chair. We'll start with that warm up and end with a cool down. All right, are you ready to move daily in this one? Me too. Let's go. Okay, you might hit functional strength on your watch there. Hold on to something here for balance. Center yourself, just kind of soften the one knee. We're gonna come up to an abduction on the side right here for 8. All right, just warming up the ball and socket in the hip. Okay, don't come up too high. Just a little ways, getting those abductions in. 2 more here. Good, and switch sides, out to the side and up. And 8. 4 more here. All right, and hinging forward onto something. Get a nice flat back. You could stand tall and hold the wall if you need, but we're gonna kick here and up. Nice kick back, warming up our glutes. 2 more here, and switch your side. Don't arch the back here. Last 4, 3, 2, 1. Very good. Take it wide and hand to toe tap right here. Reach your hips back, warming up the hamstrings and glutes. Last 2. And we're gonna stay wide and just a little rock side to side right here. Just targeting a little of that inner thigh. Last one here. And some front kicks. If you can't kick high like this, just kick low right here. And calf raises up to your tiptoes. Last 4. Excellent. Okay, take a look at the screen. That's the first circuit through twice, and here we go. We're gonna take the whole first circuit down to the ground. So I'm gonna bring a 15-pound dumbbell there for the glute thrusts. If you don't have something that heavy or you can't lift that heavy, you could do body weight. You're gonna start on your back, put that dumbbell on your pelvis. Feet are close to your bottom. All right, we're gonna pulse at the top. So you're up with a pulse and down. Up, pulse, and down. So you wanna squeeze at the top and down. Up, squeeze. Have a good handle on your dumbbell. All right, come to seated. I'm gonna put that dumbbell right out in front of me. We're gonna do some seated rainbows. So we'll come up and over, working quads and hip flexors. Sit tall. So seated rainbow, up and over here. If you can't lift it up and over the dumbbell, just do a shallower rainbow. But try to sit nice and tall. Okay, now we're gonna go into a single leg glute thrust. So if you want, you could put one foot elevated onto a dumbbell. I'll call half and we'll switch. Your foot could also be on the ground if you wish. So we're gonna push up, squeeze the glutes at the top, up, good. Again, on the ground, it's just like this, same action, but elevating that foot slightly. If you have a hex dumbbell, is nice because you get more a stretch in the glute. Okay, switch legs, other side, and up. Good, and up. I hold on to my yoga mat to make sure I'm not slipping or sliding. All right. Let's set that dumbbell off to the side. We're going into your fire hydrant. Push up through the shoulder blades. We're gonna come up to that one leg and abduct, and then I'll call half and we'll switch. Up, good, up. All right, working that glute medius, just the upper part of our glute here. You'll definitely feel the glute that is stationary burn. All right, let's switch sides, just in time. Okay, let's go back to the top, back to our glute thrust with a pulse. Again, I'm gonna keep that 15 on my pelvis. You could do 0 weight and just do the body weight. Feet close to the bottom. Up and pulse, down, up and pulse. Push through your heels and think about your glutes squeezing at the top. You're not arching your back, you're just coming to that tabletop position. Okay, up to seated into our rainbow. So with or without a dumbbell there, seated position, hands come behind you. You're sitting up tall. And we'll do both legs, up and over, up and over. Ten seconds here. Then we're going back into that single leg glute thrust, right? I'm gonna use my dumbbell for my foot. Okay, with or without an elevation. You only wanna elevate on something that's a hex dumbbell, not a circle one, because it'll roll. But you could use a yoga block, a small step. That all works. I'll call halfway, single leg thrust, up, and squeeze the glute. One more here, and switch your leg straight up and down. Nice, and let's finish this circuit with that fire hydrant. All right, back to another single leg exercise. On all fours, pushing up through the shoulder blades. I'll call half. Lift and up. You don't want to tilt the body over to the side to try and get the leg up. We're not doing that. So keep your torso facing the ground, and then you're only lifting as high as you can comfortably. 3, 2, and switching legs right here, and lift. Good. Okay, very nice. Come on up to standing, take a water break. We are gonna move into a deadlift coming up. So for form, I just wanna go through a few things here. Knees are soft, hinge at the hips, all right? You want those dumbbells close to the shins, and you wanna reach your hips back like you're shutting a car door shut with your butt. You could do this against the wall and reach your hips back until your butt taps the wall. That's a good guide. Starting with that deadlift. Now, you could do zero weight until you get the action. I'm gonna hold 12s in my hands. Okay, we're gonna do a Romanian deadlift, so knees are bent, shoulders back. We hinge at the hips, keeping those dumbbells close. Power up, so you're slow. 2, 3, power. Don't arch your back at the top. Okay, kind of tuck the pelvis under, squeeze your glutes. This exercise targets your glutes and hamstrings here. So slow on the descent, and then power up, pushing those hips forward. Okay, we're gonna sit one of these down. I'm gonna go into some sit squats from my bench. If you can't sit and stand, that's not comfortable, and you wanna do high knees, opt for that. All right. I'm gonna hold a 12, and we're standing up and reaching hips back, slow and controlled, not plopping on our bench. All right, this is a great modification for those who can't squat, because you're still doing the action, but you have a lot of support from the bench. All right, again, some might not be able to do this as well. I did say no squats, but I don't really consider this a squat as much as it's sitting and standing, which is a action we should train because we should do it our whole lives. Anyway, if this hurts knees, you're doing high knees. That's fine. Okay, very good. Let's go into that single leg deadlift now, or a kickstand deadlift. So I'm gonna hold 10s for this. One foot is planted. We're gonna hinge at the hips, shoulders back. So we hinge and stand, same action as our RDL, but now that front leg's getting the lion's share of the volume here. The back leg is just there for balance. We're gonna stay on this side for a full 40 seconds. Stay with me. Last one here. Okay, switching sides. Again, planting that toe. You're thinking of all of the things. Back is flat, shoulders back, hands long, close to the shins, reach your hips back. Here we go. Slow, 2, 3, power up. This is definitely one that takes some time to get the form, but it is a very crucial movement pattern again. We bend down to pick something up, right? Something we want to be able to do for life. Okay, let's go into our calf raises. Now, if you don't have a wall, you're just gonna come up to tiptoes like we did in our intro. If you have a wall, you're gonna walk your feet out away from the wall and come up to tiptoes and all the way down. All right, so you're up and down. Now, if you're further away from the wall, it's gonna be more challenging because you're gonna increase the stretch. If that's too hard, just take a step forward, make it a little bit easier. The goal here is to come up to the tiptoes as high as you can and then let those heels tap down to the ground. Nice. Round 2, folks. Grabbing that 12 for my RDL, Romanian deadlift. This one is hinging at the hips, knees are bent, back is flat, and you're doing a hip hinge. So we hinge, 2, 3, power up. Hinge, 2, 3, power up. Very good, and up into that high knee or sit squat, whatever you'd like to do. I'm gonna do the sit squat, holding the 12. Okay, knees at 90 degrees. And we don't plop, we control the down here, with or without a weight. And into your kickstand deadlift. I'm gonna go up to the 12s here. All right, planting that back foot, hinging at the hips, roll the shoulders back, and back is flat. Hinge, 2, 3, and up. Remember, you're here for a full 40. Wouldn't be quite enough volume if we switched halfway on this one, so we're just getting into the mode now. Stay with me on this side. Very nice. I'm halfway through that one. Okay, switching sides. To kick it up a notch here, of course, we go into that single leg deadlift there, but that requires a lot of balance. Okay. Hinge, 2, 3, good. When we have stability, often you're able to elevate your weight amounts due to that. And that can help us increase muscle and strength and power, of course. But the single leg deadlift that I just showed is great, you know, if you want to increase the stretch, but also to add an element of balance and stability in there as well. So it depends on your target. Very nice. And let's finish off this circuit with our calves back on the wall. Or you could stand on a small step or a stair and really increase the stretch here. So tiptoes down, all the way up and down. Ooh, feeling the burn on mine. Are you feeling it too? We're almost there. Stay with me. Very nice. Okay, excellent. Take a look at the screen. We're going into our next circuit there, and that's what's coming up next. We're starting with our dumbbell swing. So you can start lighter, maybe a 10 or 12, somewhere in that range. We're gonna do a hip hinge, wide stance. Swing that dumbbell up to 90 degrees right there. Okay, reach your hips back. Reach and pop. Reach here, good. Try to keep that dumbbell close to the body. You're not squatting as much as you are hinging. Okay, working those glutes, little hamstrings here. Of course, your back, erector spinae, a little bit as well. You got 15 seconds here. Keep it going. Very nice. Let's set that down. Going into a standing abduction. I'm gonna hold a 5-pound weight behind my knee. You can do this without weight. We're gonna stay at each side for 40 seconds. So this stationary knee is soft. And abduct and slow. Abduct and slow. So we kind of did the fire hydrant already, right? This is adding tension and weight. You want to make sure you're squeezing that to keep the dumbbell back there for safety. You don't want this falling on your foot. An option is to use a light resistance band above the knees for this instead. Or no weight is also work. You have 10 seconds here. And that stationary glute is feeling it, isn't it? There, good. Let's shake that out. Okay, going to the other side. You can hang on to something else, whatever you like, or turn around. Tucking that behind the knee. Adjust as you need, nice and tall. Abduct and slow. Now, alternatively, you could do a straight leg raise to the side. Okay, that's an option. If you're like, oh, not getting this, that's okay. Almost there. 5 seconds here, and then we're gonna take it down to the ground for leg raises. Inner thigh, folks. Let's go into inner thigh leg raise. Here, foot is flush. We're lifting here. You can lift it high, you can lift it low. Let's just pulse, here we go. And up, good. Targeting that inner thigh now. We're gonna stay here for a full 40, 20 seconds, just not enough. Okay, but if you're feeling the burn and you need to take a little rest, now would be about halfway. Feel free to do that. Almost there. Now we're feeling it, aren't we? Last one here. Oh. Okay, give that a bit of a stretch here for a second. We're gonna flip to the other side. Stretchy stretch. Okay, other side, inner thigh. Ready? Foot is flexed Just kind of pointing the inner thigh toward the ceiling. I used to teach classes like this back in the day. Did I tell you that story ever? Where these guys, we were training to be class instructors, and so this was one of the classes. And I had been doing it for months and months already. And then the guys that were training to be trainers had to come in and do it. They couldn't. It's just such high volume on certain muscle groups. They just were not trained, conditioned to do that that long. It was funny. Okay, E, good. Let's stand back up. One more round here. We're gonna go back to that dumbbell swing. I'll stick with the 10. All right, wide stance, hip hinge. Pop it there. "15 seconds. Power those hips up. Your back is super flat here, folks. Remember, you're doing a hip hinge. Nice. Okay, into your standing abduction. I'll stick with the 5 behind the knee. A full 40 each side. Okay, get it situated, tuck it up, and abduct. Here, slow. Up, good. Honestly, that stationary leg burns more than the working leg. Just holding my body weight up. That's work. Last one here. Switching sides. Right and kiss her. Shake it. Okay, other side. We have a few seconds here. Let's get ready. Tuck it in. Up and slow. Adjust it if you need for safety. Wow, it's fiery. 10 seconds. Work, work. Then we're gonna take it down to the ground for our last inner thigh leg lift. Nice. Okay, down to the ground. You got your last 40 seconds per. All right, inner thigh, foot is flush to the ceiling. Let's lift. Up, up, that's it. Let me just say, if you do have knee issues, one of the best things that you can do is strengthen the joints and ligaments and muscles below the knee and above the knee, right? So doing specific activities to get those muscles stronger is gonna help the lion's share of people. I mean, some people are missing cartilage and have had knee replacements and the whole gambit, and working with a professional obviously is indicated there. One more here. Switch sides. But if you don't already follow that knees over toes guy on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, follow him. Ben Patrick is his name. Knees over toes guy. Ready? Such great protocols, I'm telling you. Backward walking up a hill in your neighborhood. Okay, if you don't have a hill there, go somewhere that does. Doing stairs, doing elevated front lunges. There's a lot of protocols that you can do to begin to strengthen the vastus muscles in the knees or above the knees in the quad area. the tibialis anterior, the calf. All of those muscles are crucial to help support your knee health. So follow him, try that out. But today it's 3, 2, 1 and done. And you've moved daily in your lower body leg workout. No squats, no lunges to speak of. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Let's stay down here and stretch it out. Let's start by lying on the back. If you have your bench or chair or a wall handy, put that foot against the wall, chair, bench, couch, and we're gonna cross that leg over. If you can't do it, just let your leg hang. But if you can do this, it just nicely increases the depth of stretch in that glute. So I gently push that knee away and increase that, and it feels tremendously delicious in that glute. Delicious. I had the most delicious, speaking of delicious, I don't know, some sort of caramel cookie chocolate treat. Switch sides. I'm gonna make you drool here. At a bakery this weekend. Oh, I enjoyed every morsel. I'm like, that was every bite. I'm like, why is this so good? It's tricky because like having something so delicious like that makes me remember how delicious it was. So I'm like, oh, it's hard to balance what my goals and targets are for myself and really giving in to all of the things that I want all of the time, you know? Let's hug those knees, little circles. Like, I do not find it easy. I just wanna let you know that. If you think, oh, it's easy for her, it's not. Every single day I kind of struggle with that, you know, wanting to overeat and overindulge in sweets, mostly chocolate. Chocolatey sweets or baking. Grab the shoes and push the hips forward. And yet, so I'm constantly doing the work of reminding myself of what I want my future self to look like and to be like. So that helps, right? Because I play that in my internal dialogue a lot, and I've got it written places. And of course, you know, I have that accountability with leading thousands of women. So that is helpful for me. But it's not like every day I don't go, I wish I could just, you know, no holds bar, eat everything that my heart desires or my brain says I desire, switch sides. But I know that would take me off track toward my targets and my goals for myself, which is to live long, which is to reduce inflammation, which is to have good heart health. And if I just indulged in that over and over and over and over, that would not lead me there. So it is challenging. This is why I think sometimes too, you know, if you're going through something in your life psychologically, personally, relationally, volitionally, you know, it then becomes, now you've got to have willpower in that arena. Let's come into butterfly stretch. So to have willpower or even just be thoughtful in your nutrition arena and have to go through all of the psychological stressors of another arena, sometimes, you know, whatever is easiest is gonna get the back seat, right? And oftentimes that would be the nutrition. So there are seasons when it's more challenging for sure. And then there's seasons when we maybe don't have all of the stressors and we're feeling really, really motivated to move forward. I have those too. Like I definitely have those seasons of legs straight and hinge at the hips, of more motivation and less motivation, more willpower and less willpower, more food noise and less food noise. I know now with the introduction of the GLP-1s into our mainstream medicine, that can be a way to help people who struggle with obesity to curb that sort of thing. But I don't want to say, I'm also here having that at times, not to the degree someone else does, but I do find it a challenge most days to think, okay, I bought the Easter cream eggs, or I tasted that brownie at the bakery, and now I want to have more of that. How do I not stop and get another one? Reach up and hinge forward. How do I, make wiser choices in the meals? How do I eat less even though it tasted so good in my mouth? So those are things I think about a lot. And yeah, it's a struggle for me too. Just so you know, it's not like I think anyone really has it easy, but we revisit our why, cross the other way, reach up and hinge. we think about what our future self would want, and we really drive that home. And then I really rely on the habits and practices and routines that I know make me feel better. And so, the once in a while indulgence is going to be okay, but if I did that every day, I know I wouldn't be able to attain the goals I have set for myself, which are really important to my well-being. So that all comes into play and reminds me of why we move daily. Anyway, I don't know why I talked about that today, but I was thinking about that brownie caramel thing. It was so good. Okay, well, thanks for joining this. Thanks for listening. Hope you find it deep down to figure out what your future self wants you to do today as well. I'll see ya in the next one.